Good morning, Wild Woman, inspiring, leading, and developing. This is our word of wisdom. Wow. This morning, we're talking about this concept expansion requires elevation. I woke up this morning with this prayer of Jabez impressed on me. And a couple decades back, I guess, it was really, really popular just with everybody, whether you were Bible oriented or not. Everybody was talking about the prayer of Jabez, and it comes from First Chronicles 4, verses 9 and 10. And it's this tiny story of this guy named Jabez who was named that because his mom brought him forth out of her own. So his name literally meant pain. And as he went through life, at some point, he realized, I don't want this to be my legacy. I don't want this to be what I carry forward. So he prayed and he simply asked God that his hand would be on him, that he would expand his territory, that he would not cause or produce or be pain any longer. Profound, profound, profound prayer. People started using it in all kinds of ways to expand their businesses and to get more cars and all kinds of stuff like that. I want to roll it back to us this morning to this idea that every one of us is in a space of expansion, broadening who we are, becoming our better and best selves every day. And for us to take a moment and really think about what it means for our territory to be expanded when we're asking for that better job, when we're asking for that better relationship, when we're asking for that better life. There's an amazing responsibility that goes along with it. And for me, the inspiration of Jabez reminds me, or Jabez, depending on who you're listening to, reminds me that as I broaden and become, and more opportunity is offered to me, responsibility to make sure that my jacked up past doesn't derail it, that the legacies that were handed to me, that the things that were spoken over me, the negative ideas that were handed over to me, don't carry over into this new area that I'm walking into. I cannot afford to become my next best self and still carry the messages that were told to me about the worst of who I was, most of the time coming out of somebody else's own pain. Like his mom had issues and she handed them off to her child. And so, how many of us are either doing the same, handing over our pain to our babies, and not just our literal, like babies, but the babies of our visions, our dreams, and our ideas, but we're pouring our pain into it. And the other side to that, the flip side to it, is how many of us have been handed that pain poured into us, and we're stuck not being able to broaden our horizons, not being able to have our territory expanded because we're stuck in that. Well, I think that in order to really be able to experience the expansion of territory, we've got to elevate. And someone shared this with me yesterday. It was so interesting because I was confused for a minute, right? The idea that the higher you go is more basic. And I'm thinking, no, the higher you go is the more special and unique you are. And she said, to be able to have a vision, to be able to plan out or map something out, got to go higher. When you stay down at the bottom level, you are seeing all of the details, and you might get stuck in the minutia of what you're trying to do because you're seeing too much of the detail. But when you can go higher, you can see broader. To be able to see your territory, and you've got to be able to see the territory around you. You have to be able to see what you're aiming for and going for. You have to be able to see what's surrounding you. And that requires rising up, coming out of where you are, coming out of where you might be stuck, and getting a step higher and a step higher and a step higher for you to be able to see how big this can become. I encourage you today, moment, not just a step from what you're in, but to be able to get above, to be able to get that, what we call that bird's eye view, to be able to look at all of what's possible if you will get out of the pain. And I don't care who named you, and I don't care who spoke it over you, but you have the opportunity to pray for a change and become your better self. And your name might still be the same, but the meaning will absolutely change. As your territory expands, you got to go higher. So come on higher, ladies, and let's all be wild.